Welcome to Foro Politico, free and independent. My name is Marcos Palma, and today is August 18, 2016. We're going to talk about the presidential election. We're going to show you the latest about this presidential election, where the Republican candidate is losing. He's losing according to the latest polls. He has changed his staff, where Democrats said his campaign is shaken. This week, he was in Milwaukee, and he was talking to the African-American community, where we can see that mostly of the audience were whites. And during his speech, he mentioned something about the Latinos immigrants are stealing jobs from the African Americans. As you can see, this candidate is still with this message of division. He still divides the people. This Republican candidate, once again, we noticed that he cannot read a teleprompter. And people said, Democrats, mostly Democrats, that when he's reading the teleprompter is the way he's supposed to do it. However, when he talks without teleprompter is when he's insulting people. And this candidate wants to abolish and replace the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act that is been helping millions of people. We're talking about 20 million people that they benefit because of the Affordable Care Act, while he wants to replace it. He wants to renegotiate the commercial trade with Mexico and Canada, this trade that is well known as NAFTA. He wants to build a wall between Mexico and the United States and deported more than 11 million people. This Republican candidate lately, he's been accusing Secretary Clinton that Mrs. Clinton is against the police departments in the United States, something that hasn't ever happened during the elections in this country. And he keeps insulting people, and the Republicans that is still with him, they're still asking him that he has to look more presidential. For the last 4 months, they've been asking him to become more presidential. However, it's a thing that he cannot make it. But now, let's talk about the other side, the Democrat. A woman that has worked for more than 25 years on public service. Secretary Clinton, who this week was in Cleveland, and she was talking about creating jobs, creating good jobs, those jobs that came from energy. She mentioned again this phrase, a good friend don't let friends vote for Mr. Trump. Mrs. Clinton wants to put a moratorium to the deaf students, and she wants the free college tuition. And also, she wants to increase the minimum wage. She wants a comprehensive immigration reform. And also, she wants to improve the Affordable Care Act, even though Mrs. Clinton, she has acknowledged that she has done some mistakes. She's not hiding from anybody. And those mistakes has been part of her political careers. Republicans have said that some Republicans have said that they will vote for Mrs. Clinton. And Mrs. Clinton is already part of the history of this country because another big party hasn't never nominated a woman, and that's why she's already part of the story. The polls are with Mrs. Clinton. In many states, she is ahead of the Republican candidate. Later, we're going to talk about the numbers, where many states showing that Mrs. Clinton is ahead on the polls. And we're going to show you this speech where she talks about jobs, and she was in Cleveland. Let's see it.
And I also want to defend the rights that Americans now have from all of the various attacks that people are waging. That's why I support human rights and civil rights. I support women's rights. And yes, I will defend Planned Parenthood against all of these partisan attacks. I support gay rights. Voting rights, which are under attack across America, including right here in Ohio. I support workers' rights, the right to form and organize a union and bargain collectively. I support the rights of people with disabilities who deserve more chances to be integrated into the economy and society. And yes, I will take on the gun lobby and try to get common sense gun safety measures passed. And, you know, I know how difficult this is, but here's what I want to say. I want to say what I said at the convention in my speech. I am not at all advocating the repeal of the Second Amendment. I am not at all advocating any program that would in any way take people's guns away. Here's what I'm advocating. I want to help you stay alive so that nobody who shouldn't have a gun in the first place gets one and hurts you or other people.
That's part of the speech that Mrs. Clinton gave in Cleveland. Later, we're going to show you another part of this speech. But now I'm going to welcome our guest today. Don Jose, thank you very much for joining us today. You've been missing a few shows, but you're welcome. Welcome to this show, Mr. Jose. And I want to welcome Mr. Lerma, Hector Lerma, from Parent Integrated Education, Escuela de Superación Integral, ESIPAD. Mr. Lerma, thank you very much for joining us. And also I want to welcome Mrs. Vaca, Mrs. Victoria Vaca. She's running for the municipal elections in Moreno Valley for the city council. She's been with us. Thank you very much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me here today.
Vaca. Thank you. Before that, we talk about your campaign, Mrs. Vaca. We're going to talk about this presidential election that is very historic in many cases. And as I told you in the beginning, well, I'm going to start with Don Jose. Don Jose, you've been missing the few shows, but so far, what's your take on the election and overall? Since we've seen that Mr. Trump is going down in the polls. Remember his comments about the Khan family, about the Muslim American family, when he started making those comments. And then he keeps insulting other people. And then this week, we had a shake-up of his campaign, when he's replacing some of his members, when we had the names of the advisors. For example, now he have Stephen Bannon, he's executive chairman, and he used to work in the Breitbart News. And we have also chief executive, Kellen Conway, a campaign manager. What's your take on that? A boss, you're a boss, you have people working for you. But when a boss is changing those positions, what's going on in that place?
Well, I really think Donald Trump is very desperate, and his team is even more desperate because they can see that Trump is really, really deep in the trench. And I'm very happy, and we need to celebrate. I don't think he's coming out. I think he's going to lose. And I really believe that all of those changes that he has done lately is a symbolic of the desperation that he's going through, because he can see that every time he opens his mouth, he's digging himself deeper and deeper and deeper in the trench that he opened for himself. And as you can see, Mr. Gannon, he's a racist. This Breitbart News, it was put together just to go against minorities. Basically, this person has made a name for attacking openly in the media to the minorities, especially African Americans and Latinos. We're always on the loop on this Gannon Breitbart News.
Mr. Trump mentioned in the latest speech that he gave that Secretary Clinton is against the police officer. By the way, today, Secretary Clinton, he got together with leaders from the police departments from the whole United States. And how did you take that part of the speech by Mr. Clinton, by Mr. Trump, that Mrs. Clinton is against the police departments?
Mrs. Clinton, she cannot be against the police department. This is one more strategy of Donald Trump using against Hillary, just to plant false images of her on people's mind. Don't forget, everything that went wrong in the last 8 years, he's blaming Hillary and he's blaming Mr. Obama. And the truth is that Trump has really contradicted himself. You know, just last week, he was saying that there has not been any catastrophic event in the United States before Obama's time. Well, I got news for him. He's wrong, because the 9/11 attacks just happened during the Republicans' time. Bush administration was on place, and not to mention that Republicans decide to attack Iraq. And when they decide to attack Iraq, Donald Trump was one of the persons that was against it, and he says, we should attack and get out. We should be now by now. And now they blaming Obama, and as you guys remember last couple of weeks, he says that Obama and Hillary funded ISIS. You guys remember that statement?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do remember that.
That is so false a statement.
But one of the things, Don Jose, that it's a candidate that he can change his mind. Today can he say something, but in the afternoon he can say something else, and tomorrow change his mind.
Well,
and then he has an army behind him.
Only Trump, because you know what? I believe he has diarrhea in his mouth, because every time he opens his mouth, he's just going down and down. And I believe Donald Trump has no comeback, and we need to celebrate that, because I believe that finally the college-educated Anglo white people has realized it, who is Donald Trump, and they're not supporting Donald Trump. The only people supporting behind Donald Trump is like this guy, Cannon, from the Breitbart News, because they're racist. They always been against minorities. And the thing about bringing American back, as we all know what that means. That means he's dreaming that America will be white only and no minorities anymore. That's exactly what
slaves.
That's exactly what he's thinking.
I'm going to invite Mrs. Baca to the conversation.
Right.
Mrs. Baca, you see that same way?
Oh, yeah. I think that many people are coming out of the woodwork, as they say, because Donald Trump is spewing all this racist comments, and that's how what they feel. So they're saying, yay, yay. But they're a minority. The majority of people do not support Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And Donald Trump can't compete with Hillary Clinton, and that's why he has all this hogwash, ridiculous comments that are racist, they're divisive, and they're anti-American. First of all, the way he talks about African Americans. They're Americans. Then you have the judge that's American, but he calls him a Mexican. Right?
It's true.
I mean,
we have seen that in politics. There are politicians, they're very honest and very dishonest politicians. But you can see, I mean, you're supporting Mrs. Clinton. I have to tell the audience that you're supporting Mrs. Clinton. But by the other side, there's people that they don't rely on Secretary Clinton because of the emails, the Benghazi. But how can she change those people's minds?
I think that she needs to continue with her campaign. She has a very good campaign. And
She's credible all the way.
Right, she's credible. And if she had an opponent, I would admit she has a formidable opponent, but she doesn't, because what he says is derogatory. It's low. It shows that he has no class, no education. Whereas she can stand on the merits of her experience, her education, the support of the American people.
And you know why they doing those email things? You know why? Because they had nothing else against Hillary. Hold on, Marco. Let me make a point.
Yes.
Let me make a point, please. They had nothing else against Hillary Clinton. She's the greatest secretary we ever have. Obama cannot be blamed for what's happening in America. This is the best country in the whole world.
Yes.
The people that has not traveled the world and the people that doesn't understand how other people live in other worlds, I can understand. And this is the Anglo-American people that live in the center of the country that are uneducated, are very uninformed, and they don't understand. We are minority, and we are here, and we come to stay, and we are part of the society, and we love this country as much as anybody else does, and we're going to be here, and we're here to support this country on any means.
And Donald Trump doesn't have experience, he doesn't have education, so he bases his campaign on insulting and attacking not only
if you
Secretary
can hold
Clinton,
your talk,
but ourselves.
Mrs. Baca, we have to take a break. Please hold your emotions. I know that you're so passionate.
It is emotional.
Please stay with us. You're watching Foro Politico. When we come back, we're gonna talk more about the speech by Mr. Trump that he's dividing by one side Latinos and the other side African Americans. That's all. Now there are people, they're talking, pastors, leaders. They say this is not right. I'll be right back. you for joining us once again. We're talking about the presidential election 2016. In this segment, we're going to talk about this part of the speech by Mr. Trump when he mentioned about the division between the Latinos and African American. And I'm going to welcome Mr. Lerma, Hector Lerma. He is from Parent Integrated Education. Mr. Lerma, and about that division, it's been in the 60s and the 70s between Latinos and African Americans. And when this candidate told that immigrants that came to this country to steal jobs and to fight for good jobs with African Americans, what's your take on that?
Well, first of all, where does he get his information? He is completely wrong. I mean, the jobs that we worked in are the jobs that nobody wants. I mean, I go to Fresno or Madera, and I don't see black people out there. I see mostly Hispanic. Hispanics do not speak Spanish either. But he's completely wrong. His information is racist. He's racist. He wants to instill in people that Hispanics are wrong, Muslims are wrong, and on and on and on.
I think it's another strategy to split Latinos from African Americans, because he's afraid that if we get together as a minorities, actually we could really cause a damage. If we will be together with the African Americans and the African Americans with us, we can cause a big damage. You know, let's talk about what happened last week. Last week, you know, when he tried to reach the African Americans, he lied to them. You know, Donald Trump, he's been sued so many times in New York as a landlord for refusing to rent an apartment to African Americans. What he's talking about? You know, he's talking about, he's telling the African Americans that Mr. Obama failed on them. That's not even close to be true. Mr. Obama is one of the greatest presidents. He has done a better job than many other presidents, and together with Hillary Clinton. I just advise everybody, don't listen to Trump. And if you listen to Trump, believe maybe 1% of what he say, because everything he says is a lie, is false, is premeditated, is false and ambiguous. Don't listen to them and don't believe on them. Republicans are being broken apart by Donald Trump, such a great party. I used to be Republican. I'll never be Republican again, because it looks like our leaders on the Republican Party failed to pick up the right person. And they know it.
Why do you think that happened? Why did they let that happen? Since you mentioned right now you're a Republican,
because
didn't you speak out before to say this? I mean, he vet 16 candidates.
Because
and there were Bush,
because
if you
remember,
he vet all of them.
If you remember, Mr. Ronald Reagan was an actor, and you know they thought Hillary is a tough to beat. You know, they thought we're going to have a problem with Hillary, so let's find somebody that can beat Hillary. And they thought, this guy, he's a showman. He's close to being an actor. He's been on the media business, and he's a showman. And they thought this can really bring us the result, because we need to be on power. And they also wanted to have a blank check like what they have before the 2008. They want to have Congress, and they want to have Senate, and they want to have the president.
But do you think
the Republicans.
the GOP, the establishment GOP, make a mistake that they couldn't stop before? Now they say we can change it.
You cannot.
They're given until September. They're still debating.
Marcos,
He's going to win the debate.
120.
They can do it.
120 Congress, Republican Congress, signed a letter this week refusing to support Trump. His own people. We're not talking 2 or 3 senators. We're talking 120 has already signed.
But they still can't stop him, doesn't it?
They cannot stop him.
No,
it's
he's
too
the
late.
nominee.
No.
He's already the nominee.
Even though, because we have heard about the meetings between the
No.
Republicans.
You know, Republicans is like they pregnant and they had to have the baby. They had no way out. They are pregnant, they must have the baby.
Explain to us that, Victoria.
Well, he's already the nominee. He's already had the convention, so that he's a nominee, and he's going to be on the ballot. That's it.
Then even though they can lose the Senate, they can lose the Congress. They're
going to. The Republicans have a lot to lose in this race, because you have the anti-Trump effect, where Republicans are going to lose.
It's impossible to remove him.
They're going to lose big because they are supporting him. There's some people.
They had no choice.
But no, there is a choice. For example, there are some Republicans that are saying, no, we're not going to support him. We're not going to endorse him. Okay, but they're thinking now, what about our party? What are we going to do? You know, we're losing our party.
That's why.
Because we're not going to support Trump. So they're thinking of the party now. So some of them are coming along, but I think most of them are holding their nose.
They're holding like Mr. Bush, the Bush's family, Mitt Romney, John McCain, and many others that they're opposing
120.
And also not just the congressman, also the security. The security.
But we're talking
that's
120 top Republicans.
But the security is
You know.
important also. They sign a letter, 50 people in the top business, even though they try to refuse to give it the advance and notices about the security of this country. Yes, they talk to him.
They need to have majority Republicans, Congress, to throw him out. And they really had to come out with a big decision because it might be some legal implications because he's the legal candidate. And only if he resigns and if he quit, that's the only instance that he can be. And I don't think he's going to quit because he wants publicity.
So, right.
He wants publicity. And it looks to me like his objective is to break the Republican Party apart. Because that's what's going to happen.
What'd you take, Professor?
Well, remember what I told you once, that the only way that they can get rid of him is if they pay him off.
What about that? Money talks, which awards. Do you remember that phrase?
They had no money.
He will accept money.
They had no money.
The Republican Party doesn't. They have money.
They had no money.
The Koch brothers. They tried to.
Oh,
the Koch brothers
no,
that say,
no,
okay, we're not going to support you. They're planning to spend more than $1 billion in the campaign, but they refused as soon as find out that they were Mr. Trump and the nominated.
Many companies refused to donate, so they had no donors.
But
they're way behind right now. They only have 3 top donors that are supporting Trump, and the rest is just 4 companies refused to donate, and they used to be one of the big donors. But when Trump opened his mouth, as I say, every time he opens his mouth, he's burying himself deeper and deeper. He says, "I'm going to bring Ford from Mexico. I don't want Ford to be manufacturing cars in Mexico and taking our jobs." Well, guess what Ford is saying? We just don't give you money. Simple as that.
But Don Jose.
So it's one or the other. If he's against those companies manufacturing in other countries, and he said he's going to force them to come this way, all they have to do is just not to give any campaign money to the Republicans.
But he's a businessman. He's not a politician.
He's a lousy businessman.
A lousy businessman that can deal, can negotiate. As you know.
Let me tell you.
Everywhere. Came the Koch brothers and
approached him and
say, "We give you this
with
amount
$3 billion.
of money."
He born with $3 billion, and he's in debt $10 million. How smart Donald Trump can be? He's been through several bankruptcies, and he's been stealing from the Wall Street. He's been stealing from investors. He's been stealing from people that purchased properties from him. He's been stealing from students, the university fraud. He stole $35,000 from students. This man, he's more the Antichrist. He's more than con. I don't know how to call him. He's fraudulent. He's a liar. He's a con man. I don't see how can any educated person can support this individual.
But what did you tell me about the system? Because he said, I know the system. When they ask you about that question, you've been in bankruptcy for 6 times. And his answer is, because I know the system. And the system is rigged. It's his answer. And then it's not him. It's a system that
No. The system was created for the necessity. When somebody has a problem in life and cannot manage their financials anymore, the bankruptcy court would take you and you say, "Judge, I cannot handle anymore. Here's my financials. Split it, pay whatever you can, and do with me whatever you can, but I cannot pay them." That's exactly what it is for a good cause, but not for a coyote like Trump. Trump is a coyote.
In the system. There's something wrong in the system at that
No.
moment.
It's immoral what he's done it, because you know what? Let me tell you one thing. He built a Tomahawk casino, right? Mm-hmm. He owes $1.3 billion to the contractors that built. Okay, he go bankrupt, and he only paid 10 cents in a dollar. That's immoral. That's fraudulent, because he did it only to go later and reconstruct the company after he doesn't owe money. After construction was free, everything was done for him for free for 10 cents in a dollar. Now he can make the company healthy, and now he can go and sell it for $3 billion. This is illegal.
And agree in what you say,
but the system allow him to do it.
But one more thing, and I'm going back to the system. He hasn't released his taxes, and again, because he said, "Oh, I'm an audit. I'm doing an audit." And again, the system. How can the system allow a man to have 6 bankruptcy? It hasn't given the taxes when everybody you release taxes. Everybody.
Well, it's not mandatory, but it's traditional. It's different. When it's mandatory, you need to show the taxes, but it's traditional. And everybody wants to say, look, I'm clean, vote for me. But Donald Trump cannot show his taxes as simple because he lied. You know why he lied? He's hiding because he owns 6 companies offshore. And those companies are not paying taxes. And I know why Trump cannot show his tax returns. He said he's worth $10 billion. Mr. Bloomberg, that's his close ally, in the past, he's the ex-city mayor for New York, he says Donald Trump is a liar. Donald Trump is worth less than $3 billion, and his debt is over $10 billion. So really, Trump cannot show his taxes. If he showed the taxes right now, Trump is digging deeper.
This is what I blame the system. Even though I don't know many things about it, but it's still the system not doing voluntary. What do you think, Mrs. Baca, about it?
I think that's the law.
Every member that runs for a political position should show.
But that's not mandatory.
No, but it should be. Because if you create, for example, a non-profit organization that asks you to release your tax, then a man running for president is not mandatory. Should be. That's why it's a system. Blame the system. Don't blame these men that they allowed to do these things. It's like, for example, somebody that's stealing. You let people steal and steal and steal. How come? Drunk drivers. You let one drunk driver, you go to the lawyer, and the lawyer give you, okay, you're free again. You pay money, okay,
you have to understand
free.
that tax returns under the Constitution are protected under the Privacy Act laws. Nobody can force anybody to show tax returns. That's one thing in America, and he's protected under that law. So everybody's protected, even if he's a candidate. If you don't trust him, just don't vote for him. That's exactly what we need to do.
We don't need to see his taxes. We know how corrupt
exactly.
he is.
You're 100% right.
He's already corrupt.
Okay.
Every time he opens up his mouth, he gets in trouble.
Even if we
you
saw
can
his
tell when
tax return,
somebody
we're not going to
refuses
vote
to
for
show
him.
it, that's for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's common sense.
Right.
If you had nothing to hide, you just show your taxes. But if you're hiding something, you can come out with an excuse that I've been under an audit. Hey, I'll tell you, the audit doesn't prevent you from showing your taxes. Don't tell that to the poor people. Tell that to, he told that to uneducated white Anglo people that can believe that, crap that he's telling them. But I'm telling you, that's not right. He needs to show his taxes. We will never go away, and we'll keep asking, and at the last minute, we're going to put banners, and we're going to ask you to show your taxes.
We had to take another break, but we're going to let you with this video with the message from the Congressman Adam Schiff. He was talking about those emails that they were released by the FBI. Do you remember the FBI, Mr. Comey from the FBI have a conversation with Secretary Clinton about those emails? Well, the Republicans asked for those transcripts, not the real transcripts, but some of the message from Mrs. Clinton. It looks like the Republicans try to do something damage Secretary Clinton. This is part of the message by Mr. Schaefer.
Well, I think unfortunately that's exactly right, and the history of documents like this has been leaked almost immediately upon receipt by Congress, and I'd be very surprised if that was different here. And the broader concern, frankly, is what this will mean to Department of Justice investigations and people's willingness to cooperate in the future. I also have to say that it opens a Pandora's box of requests from Congress now. Should, for example, the Financial Services Committee demand the closed investigative files of any Wall Street executives not indicted after the meltdown, don't we have equally as much right to those files as we do to these in the public interest? You can list probably easily a dozen or dozens of closed cases that Congress would have a legitimate interest if this is now the precedent. And that concerns me greatly because I think it will deter people from cooperating in Department of Justice investigations if they know they're going to become public and part of political fodder.
Congressman, I totally agree with you. I think this is one of the most horrible precedents I've seen in a long time. I don't understand why the FBI agreed to send the material over, not just in terms of deterring cooperation, but people's privacy, people's rights to not have accusations made against them if they've not been indicted. Why did the FBI do this?
Well, I think that the director made the decision, and I support him in this decision, to speak publicly about the closure of the case when he did so a couple months ago. And then he testified, in fact, in great detail about that. It wasn't without reservation that I supported that, but I felt that the seminal public interest in a case involving the likely nominee or nominee of one of the parties justified it in these circumstances. But to go further than that and release investigative files and witness interviews and other documents, that seems to me unjustified and unwise. And I think it's a decision and a precedent the Justice Department will rue that it has set, because I don't see a limiting principle here. And so whenever you have a party in the majority in Congress now and someone from the other party under investigation, that investigation is ultimately declined, they're going to demand the same kind of access that we saw here.
In this segment, we're going to talk about the kickoff for Mrs. Victoria Vaca. She was recently have a kickoff in Moreno Valley because she's running for one of the council's position. And we have to tell you that she faced a recall in 2013. However, she's coming back because she wants to kind of clean his image and mostly try to do the things that she really want to do for Moreno Valley. Thank you very much again, Mrs. Vaca. Tell us about your kickoff of your campaign. Why did you decide to run against in Moreno Valley for the council?
Well, I think that I have a lot of issues that I still want to resolve. One of them is in the area of Edgemont, which is one of the most stagnant areas of the city of Moreno Valley. And we have an old water company there, the Box Springs Water Company, which is privately owned by the residents of that area, which is considered Edgemont. But not all of Edgemont receives their water from that water district. Some of them are hooked up to Eastern Municipal Water District, but there are residents that are still buying water from this company, and they have old pipes. They can't build because the water pressure is not there. The fire hydrants are not adequate. So there's a lot of problems, and I would like to finish addressing that issue. We also have the issue with jobs. We are considered a bedroom community, so many people are commuting out of the city, and they're using their money, for example, to buy lunch wherever they work, whether it's LA County, Orange County. They're also spending their time shopping in other cities. So we want to create revenue for the city so that we can have an adequate police department, an adequate fire department, after-school programs. We need the revenue, but without it, we have pretty much leveled off what's coming in, but the price, for example, of the police department keeps going up. They want more money for their retirement, for their salaries, and the revenue that's coming into the city doesn't match that. So every year we're in deficits, and our budget is shrinking.
So what's the solution for that?
The solution for that is bringing revenue to the city. And the city council recently, last year in August, they approved what they call the World Logistics Center, which is going to bring approximately 20,000 jobs to the city of Moreno Valley. And it goes from the warehouse worker to executives that run the businesses. And this is an industry that's growing. And there's been lots of studies as to what is growing. We're not training forklift drivers anymore because we have so much automation. But we still need people to fix the machines, to program the machines, to design the warehouses, and we have the medical industry as well. So those are the two areas that Moreno Valley is looking at, which is logistics and the medical field. So we have the medical corridor where we're expanding the hospitals, we're building clinics and different businesses. So those are the two areas that we're looking at.
Particularly about this logistics center, one of the biggest, will be the biggest in the west part of the country.
Yes.
Who's behind the construction? Who's the group that is behind?
Okay, the company's name is Highland Fairview. And you have a lot of complaints that, Highland Fairview this and Highland Fairview that, but we don't have anybody else knocking on our doors. For example, you have the environmentalists, right? But before that a project was approved, we have volumes and volumes of the environmental impact report, and it was available for people to come in and inspect. It's been there. So the process has been followed. It's gone through the Planning Commission. We had 2 days of hearings. We had the planning commissioners, there's 7 members, and it was a vote of 6 to 1.
The people that were opposing to this logistics center, what were their complaints? What were the reasons why did they oppose to this
Well,
project?
I hate to say this, but many of them don't like Highland Fairview or Mr. Benzivi. So it's a personal attack on an individual. But yet, when you ask them, what's the alternative? Who do you prefer? Is there another developer that wants to come into Moreno Valley and build? No. So they say, oh, we want houses. Well, houses, you're going to have more traffic, and you're going to have more pollution, and you still don't have jobs for the people in Moreno Valley. So that's their alternative.
Only temporarily, right?
Pardon me?
I mean, construction is only temporarily.
Yes,
So
but they're
right.
saying that they want
Victoria,
to build homes.
what are you doing? What are you thinking to do with regards to the police, discrimination, the police profiling of the Latinos in that area? It's been a high issue.
Yes.
In that area.
Yes,
What is your thoughts?
and I think that we need more community involvement. We need, for example, we need to train, and I'm not justifying anything that the police department does, except their job. But when we have African Americans being killed, okay, when we have children being killed, I think that it's lack of education, in part.
Lack of training.
Lack of training on the police part, but it also has to do with lack of training of the community. For example, you don't run from the police.
I also blame the leaders. You know why?
Yes.
Because we don't
absolutely.
have any, we don't have any good leaders in the community
Yes.
that can really do an examination.
Right.
I'll give you an example. You go and pay a ticket in LA courthouse, and you see all the cops are white, and all the people paying the tickets is black and Latino.
Yes.
That had to change.
Yes.
That's why those African Americans are being killed by the white cops, because the white cops don't care. They don't care for the African Americans, and I really believe that had to be changed. If the city has 100 houses, 100 homes, and 60% is African Americans, 60% of the police should be African Americans.
I agree, and I think that 60% of the teachers should also be African American.
Correct.
Because
We have to change
our
it.
public servants need to reflect the community that we serve. I agree with you.
Because I think the Anglo doesn't understand the culture of the African Americans. And once that they see an African American running, they want to shoot him because they think he's a bad guy just because he's black. And I believe that they have to be changed. That's the first thing that a leader like you, when you get elected, I know you're going to be elected,
Thank you.
And we want to help you on anything we can with the television. Virginia, you need to really come out with a change for the city and say, hey, we are Latinos and African Americans here. We need cops.
But one thing that I have to tell you, Don Jose, is like even though she wins the election, in the council member there are 5 people.
But she's our voice. She can be our voice
But
there.
however, in a democratic system,
To make a change.
it's going to start. It would be the beginning. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be by himself, because I've been seeing in other councils that even the one Latino cannot make it by themselves.
Right.
Has to have
You
the
need 3
support of the
votes,
community.
or you're going to be a sitting duck.
Has to have the community, even though they're not in the council. But when things done, for example, if she supports the changes in the police department, people has to be behind the leader. People needs to be supporting the leader, because sometimes they forget.
It's just common sense. If you have so many Latinos in a community, and you have all white cops and white judges and white lawyers and on and on and on and on.
What's going on?
What's
There's no common
the justice
sense.
system?
There's no common sense.
Again, the system.
But
We
also,
go back to the system.
Same thing with the fire department. You just go to any city where it's 100% Latinos, but the firemen are whites. And we need to have our own people. When I'm stopped by a Latino cop, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, even an African American. But when a white stop you, he can shoot you anytime. If he doesn't like you, if he's racist like Donald Trump, he can shoot you anytime. I've seen it.
When I worked for the police department in Santa Monica, one of the police officers approached me and said, "What are you doing here? I'm the custodian here." He said, "Have you ever been arrested?" And I said, "No, I have never been arrested. I was like 19, 20. He said, "Well, be careful, because I'm going to be arrested. I like to be the first one to arrest you." I said,
Oh, no.
I've been arrested also. I mean, not arrested, but stopped by police, CHP. But that was a good lesson for me, because once the police stopped me, he told me about something wrong in my life. Okay, going back, let's see this video about kickoff for Victoria Baca. Recently, there were a lot of people supporting her. Let's watch this video.
I'm here with Robert Harris, a very active member of Moreno Valley, very involved in local politics. And Robert, can I ask you why you're supporting Victoria Baca for City Council?
Well, Victoria Baca is a very strong advocate for children in Moreno Valley, and as a strong advocate, she will also do the same thing in her district, District 1.
Very good. Well, thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. Hi, I'm here with Elena Santa Cruz. And Elena, can I ask why you're supporting Victoria Baca for City Council?
I support Victoria Baca because no one knows better than I how much time, effort, how much of herself she's put into this city. There'd be no better representation for us in Moreno Valley than re-electing Victoria Baca to City Council.
Thank you. I like that re-election. Hi, I'm here with Liz. Your last name, Liz?
Jinso?
Jinso. Liz, can I ask you why you're supporting Victoria Baca for City Council?
Sure. I'm coming all the way from Los Angeles to support her. I truly believe that she is an advocate for children and for their families, and that's why she should be running for City Council and win.
Wonderful. We're hearing that theme a lot. Thank you. I'm here with Ted Dutton, who is supporting Victoria Baca for City Council. Ted, can I ask you why you're supporting Victoria for City Council?
Well, I think she's probably one of the most qualified people that I've ever met, that with her experience from the school board to being on the council before. And I think she's got the general attitude of Moreno Valley is to her best interest, best interest of the community, and that's what she's working for, and that's why I think she's the best person for the job.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
We've seen in this video, Mrs. Baca, that many people supporting you, the community supporting you. How do you feel about that?
Oh, well, I'm overwhelmed with joy, and I'm humbled by the support that I've been receiving from past supporters and new supporters. We're just gaining momentum every time we have an event. Whenever we post something on Facebook, we get new likes. We have a lot of people making phone calls. We have people canvassing. I'm out there, and we're having meet and greets during the weekends, and it's great. It's good. I think that it's better than 4 years ago.
Can we say that a campaign is expensive, that's spent a lot of money, and a lot of time?
Yes.
How do you handle that situation?
Well, we raise money. We ask people for donations, and we have people that are supporting us with donations anywhere from $5 to $2,000. There's no limit as to how much people can donate.
Mr. Lerma, Hector Lerma, you've been participating in elections before, particularly in Riverside. What are some of the challenges that you've had faces in those elections?
Some people come in with an attitude of wanting to vote whether they're registered or not. But they're not in the list. They're not. They're nowhere. And they insist on doing. We give them a temporary ballot and say, no, I want the real thing. So it's the real thing. It will count if you are registered, legally. But they challenge us.
We have here the Republican candidate. The system is rigged, like it's corrupted. Since you've been participating in those elections as a supervisor, can you make a comment about what the Republican candidate say about that?
As human beings, and we are running an election, we make mistakes. Yeah, some people come and do this on the ballot. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just draw a line. We tell them, we ask them if they need help, but they keep on, trying to do a thick line that we're not supposed to do that. But being corrupted, I have only heard in the United States that one election was corrupted. That was in Georgia. Mr. Carter was running for city council against another rancher, and they counted more than 4,000 votes. And I said the word wrong, votes, and they even worse. But anyway, they counted 400 votes, and there were only 2,000 people.
We have to take another break, but when we come back, we are going to ask you, Don Jose, about this situation, the corrupted system, or is not corrupted, or is not rigged, because Don Jose has been traveling all around the world. Please stay with us. This is Foro Politico. Thank you for watching us. This is Foro Politico. And this is the presidential election, the latest 2016. And I'm going to read a part of this article that was published in the LA Times. And this is part of the Republican. A GOP member, he's been for long in that party, but now he may be switched and vote for Secretary Clinton. And again, this is only part of this article. He wrote this. I believe this is a citizenship election similar to others we have had in our history. This is a time to stand up and be counted just like supporters of the civil rights movement once chose to do. The central question in 2016, are Muslim Americans an equal and welcome member of the American constituency? For me, the answer is a clear yes. Now the question becomes, can we come together and find a positive solution to the issue of illegal immigration? Yes, like President Reagan and congressional Democrats were able to achieve? The answer to that is we must. To choose otherwise embrace fear, as Donald Trump has chosen to do. Fear sometimes wins your elections, but it doesn't create jobs, build schools, reduce crime, or improve the quality of life for all citizens. Great political leaders help us transcend our fears. Still, the prospect of voting for Hillary Clinton is uncomfortable to me, as if Dr. Van Helsing were compelled to vote for Dracula. But the only prospect more terrifying than voting for Hillary Clinton is not voting for her. The reality of the American politics today is she is the only choice. And I want to hear any comments about this article. Is a Republican switching, trying to vote for a Democrat, the first woman in the history of this country?
I think that Donald Trump is the worst thing that has happened to the Republican Party. You know, they were, I think, very respected. They felt good about themselves. But I think that some people are trying to distance themselves from the Republican Party. Some people have changed parties because of what Republican Party has become. I know that during the Pete Wilson, they said the GOP was racist. They had racist policies, and that they were not doing anything for the Latinos, except maybe the Cubans that have historically been Republicans. But as far as currently, Latinos tend to stay away from the Republican Party, although there are exceptions.
Hey, Don Jose, we don't have much time. If you can mention a few of the biggest qualities for Secretary Clinton, what would be some of them?
Well, it's too many to mention. Like you say, we run out of time. But as everybody knows, I don't think anybody else on either party will have anybody as qualified as Hillary Clinton to be our president. There's no way. I even believe that she's even more qualified than Mr. Obama.
Do you feel confident that she will create jobs, as he mentioned? That she will do the immigration reform? That she will support the Affordable Care Act?
It all depends. If we have Democrat Senate or Democrat Congress, she can accomplish more. But if continue with the Republicans in the House, it's going to be a tough job because she cannot do everything. She needs the support of the Congress and support of Senate. And if she don't have that, even look at Obama. He tried to do many things for us and he couldn't do it, because the Senate will not allow him to do things.
In this article, Professor, the reality of the American politics today is that she is the only choice. We have no other choice. What's your take on that?
My feeling is that she has the potential to be the best president ever, as a woman, as a person, like that's all he wants, because I don't see the difference between the one and the other. And she will make history for sure. And I agree with him, with Don Jose. If we don't have a Democrat Senate and Democrat Congress, it will be very difficult. And but she knows how to deal with people. She knows how to talk to people, and she will, she will sit down with them and start working towards what we're supposed to do.
Thank you very much, all of you, for this. Thank you very much, Don Jose. We have no more time.
Marcos.
But thank you for joining us and for sharing your comments, your wisdom, because again, it's a very important election, and it's not about me, it's not about us, it's about the country. Remember those words for President John F. Kennedy. It's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for this country And that's what is so important, that you get involved in this politics. For the millennials, it's also very important to get involved. We have the candidate presidential that he creates a revolution. That revolution is so important for societies because that's a call that wake up for everybody to participate in this election. More than ever, if you get close to another person that thinks different from you, don't confront them. Try to educate them. Try to be part of this society. Try to be part of this system. On behalf of everybody that makes possible Foro Politico, thank you so much for being with us. Good night and see you soon.